Let's review the newspapers and discuss the stories making headlines that resonate with you and I. My guest this morning is Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante, the head of the Center for European Studies at the University of Ghana. Doc, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Good morning.
Good morning, sweetie. And good morning to our viewers and listeners as well.
Right. Doc, my little sister told me that you're the reason she enjoys politics. She's at UG, she's studying political science, and she had a lot of nice things to say about you. So I was just looking forward to telling you this morning.
I am humbled.
Okay. So let's get into your thoughts this morning for the next 2 minutes.
Yes, I want to look at the water crisis in Cape Coast, Elimina and its surroundings. And then the general effects of galamsey on this problem. If you look at what we are hearing, that this crisis is attributed to the activities of galamsey, then it tells us that we are nothing but a failed society. And I'll start with the government. I am surprised that we have a government, that we have given the government all the powers that it needs to run its office, and the government doesn't care a hoot about what happens. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate because you are given power with a hope that you govern on our behalf. You protect us, you support us. But here you are, as if there's no government in this country. People are mining illegally, and there's a destruction of the water bodies, and the government doesn't care a hoot about it. Look at, even to the extent that if you look at reports, foreigners are involved and all that. I ask myself whether this country has been invaded. I mean, I don't get it, because we have security officials who, when giving opportunity, they will act. You send the soldiers there and then take your hands off them and let them do professional job. You clap for them. The police, right? As if they are not there. You ask yourself, what is happening? DCE, MCEs, even owners of the land, the chiefs, are there quiet? And this is going on.
And Doc, you know, the worst part of it is that our politicians are playing a blame game. You listened to them in Parliament, I think yesterday, and they're saying that, you know, the NDC destroyed more water bodies than us. These guys did more than we did. And I'm wondering, so where does Ghana stand in the midst of this blame game that they're playing with the country?
In fact, I listened to another prayer, and it's a very sorry statement he made.
Yeah.
That he is so proud to say that, yes, there is pollution, we did lesser than the other party.
Yeah.
It's a very shameful statement. Very, very. That a problem like this, you want to boldly say that we did, and we did lesser.
Yeah.
I wanted him to say something different, that, look, we are sorry, we'll put our acts together, and then we'll work and, you know, reverse this situation. But you are so proud that you have done little. And who measures what you have done? The effect is what we see at the renal department. The effect is what we see at what the head of Atomic Energy Commission is saying, that it's cancer that takes a long time. Today, you consume something which is infected, and you get, you know, the effect in 10 years' time. This should occupy the attention of the MP and the government and the people of this country. We think that money is everything. Let me go for money. You go for money, there is no society called Ghana. Where will you live?
Well.
You will run away. Look at this big state. If everybody is gone or everybody is sick, are you sure you can be here? Because nobody will attend to you.
Yeah.
You will not be able to get anything. So please, let us be responsible. Let us make sure that we stand up against people who do this, because water is life.
Yes.
And now that water is being threatened, look, to the extent that now the capacity of Ghana Water Company has been reduced from 70% to 40%.
Yes.
And they are saying that if the situation doesn't change, we'll hit 20 and 0 ultimately. Look, we are in very difficult times. And this is a time that we should stop playing ostrich and then call people out and make sure that anybody who is involved in this is apprehended and handed over to the police.
Right.
And that those politicians who want to cash in on this, we call them out and vote against them, so that we know that we are doing a serious work. Otherwise, look, a day will come, this problem will engulf all of us, and we will not be anywhere on the surface of this country. It's unfortunate.
Thank you so much, Doc, for those thoughts. It's something to think about. A day will come where we will be nowhere to be found. Right. But let's get into the newspapers. The Daily Graphic has stories. CSOs and Occupy Ghana demand enactment of the COPO bill. That is the Conduct of Public Officers bill. Parliament's recall drain state coffers, Speaker sets. NHIA releases 800 million Ghana cedis to healthcare providers, and 487 arrested over suspected Ponzi scheme. Let's start from Parliament. The Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, has expressed concern over the abuse of the invocation of Article 112, Clause 3 within a session of the current Parliament. He said the frequent invocation of Article 112 to recall Parliament could disrupt the planned legislative annual budget and workflow of the House, drain national resources, and affect the overall productivity of Parliament. He therefore urged the members of the House to, at the appropriate time, deliberate on the matter to establish when it would be appropriate to resort to the use of Article 112. And we saw that emergency sitting yesterday, which they couldn't even conclude on the main businesses that they were called to do. And then the appearance of that attempt to lay that bill to merge Akosombo and Bui. Doc, what do you make of this story before we get into other stories?
Yes, because I am on the side of the Speaker.
Right.
That experienced person speaking here, he has seen it all. That the way we are going about that provision, a time will come when you trigger it. I'm sure nobody will even respond to this. So it should not be abused. You use it sparingly to support the effort of Parliament when Parliament is in dire need of some services. So I think that the Speaker's call is nothing but a right call, and it has come in handy. We believe that the leaders of the House, particularly majority, will take it in their strides and make sure that they work according to the rules of the game. Politics is nothing but institutionalism. And institution is what? The rules of the game.
Right.
The rules of the game. Play by the rules, and we all be safe.
Domelovo is attributing the growing corruption to leadership problems. This is on page 10 of the Daily Graphic. A former Auditor General, Daniel Yao Domelovo, has expressed concern over the many alleged corruption cases in the country, describing the situation as a leadership problem. He said the rampant corruption-related cases, with its consequential financial losses and unequitable distribution of state resources, were a sign that leadership has failed the country over the years. Mr. Domelovo said this. He said it was the responsibility of the government to take care of its citizens. However, the government appears to be taking care of itself. Gomez, please mute. Doc, what do you make of Domelovo's assertion that corruption is a leadership problem?
Oh, it's nothing but the true or an apt description of the situation on the ground. We are in leadership crisis. Leadership what? We are in leadership difficulties, because if you have a leader worth his or her salt, you don't have what problems of this magnitude. Look at corruption. We've used all manner of means. We've used firing squad. We've used the courts. We've used the rules and all that. It's not working. But one problem which politicians don't want to face is that all the parties lack the political courage, the willpower to fight corruption. They are ready to fight and then deal with people who are outside their party, but their own. They can't call them to order. So this problem, I'm not a prophet of doom, but I know that the way we are going, we are not ready to fight it. So a time will come, we will see the effects. Politics is nothing but what? Reward and punishment. If you take a decision and you are not, you take it positively, it robs of you. If there is a decision that you need to do and then you abandon it, it affects you negatively. So let's give ourselves time. The reality will dawn on us and we set up as a society. I'm not praying for that, but the way we are going, that is where we are heading towards. It's unfortunate.
It looks like we've politicized everything in this country: education, transportation, fight against galamsey, things that are affecting our livelihood. Everything is now a political football. One party plays it this way, the other plays it that way. And you keep, I mean, as a young person in this country, it sort of steals your hope and patriotism from this country, because you're wondering, at what point do we put the country first? You know, if we were really determined to fight corruption, determined to fight galamsey, Doc, I think we wouldn't be where we are right now. But those are just
we are not ready to fight it, my dear sister. That is it. We are not.
Yeah.
Because we always cashing on things that we do and do wrongly, because that's where we get a benefit. The corruption, one of the reasons why we don't want to fight is that we benefit from corruption. The positive aspect of corruption. Yes, because why would you give contract and then you yourself will take a certain percentage? Are you expecting quality of work done? No. We will do the wrong things so that we'll make ourselves better. But I am cautioning everybody, a day will come, the way we are going, we will not have the Ghana we want to have. And we ourselves will not exist. So it comes back to what? Square nine. Sorry, empty. It's an empty exercise. You won't get anything.
Let me do two quick stories in the Daily Graphic and we'll move from here. NHIA releases 800 million to healthcare providers. CSOs Occupy Ghana demand enactment of COPO bill. The coalition of civil society organizations and Occupy Ghana have expressed disappointment over Cabinet's reluctance to approve the 2022 Conduct of Public Officers Bill, that is COPO, for enactment. In a joint statement, the coalition said its reaction followed repeated assurances by the President and Attorney General that the bill would be passed into law. And, quote, since 1993, successive governments in Ghana have unconstitutionally extended the period for public officials to declare their assets rather than fulfilling the constitutional requirement to declare the assets before assuming office. Officials have been allowed to, for up to 3 months after the appointment to do so. And this extension has led to a troubling trend where many public officials either never declare their assets or make presumptive declarations of assets they anticipate acquiring during their tenure, and it brings us back to corruption. But let me quickly add this story before I come to you, Doc. Father demands justice in Oreli Senior High School stabbing case. A very bizarre and sad story. The father of a final year student of Oreli Senior High School is seeking justice for his son who was stabbed and later pronounced dead at Lekma Hospital in Accra. Edward Bokete-Saki, a visual arts student at the school, is reported to have engaged in a fight with one of his mates over an argument on the school's premises on last Monday. In the company of family and friends, Enoch Saki stormed the school's premises yesterday to demand justice for his son. And that viral video we saw on social media of the victim in an unconscious posture, I cannot take it out of my mind. And apparently the argument is about whose father is richer than the other. This is where were the teachers? Where were the authorities? Doc, for your reflection.
It's very, very painful story that will lose people this way. Even if you lose one person, it's bad enough. We always want to protect. So it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. We need to get back to the basis. Socialization process, we need to start from homes, inculcating values that will transform people to make them the best for society. We follow them up to the school, to public places and all that. And then we keep on, making sure that they, incorporate it into their lives and all that. They internalize them. That's the way to go. But I think the police will obviously go in and then make sure that there is justice. So I'll keep my fingers crossed and then wait for the police to do their work, and let's see. It's very, very unfortunate, very painful exercise, very, very painful exercise.
Right.
You look at the Conduct of Public Officers Bill.
Yeah.
Right. One annoying thing about asset declaration is the asset declaration law. I don't know why it continues to exist in our books, where you go and deposit something and it's in an envelope and nobody sees it, and you give it to the Auditor General or whoever.
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense to us. Are we a serious people? That the thing you are sending there, you yourself, there is no way that you know the content, and nobody will know unless one day, somewhere, somewhat.
Meanwhile, it's meant for it. It's supposed to be a declaration.
Oh, no, we are not serious because we know the right things to do. There are best examples all over that we can borrow from. We continue to have it and still continue to sit in our books and we say that I said declare. I don't want to hear, I don't want to know about. My sister, let's move. Let's move.
Okay, Doc, let's move on. The Ghanaian publisher, Penyo Markin, warns against excessive partisan politics. NHIA releases 400 million. So is it 400 million or 800 million? The Daily Graphic is reporting 800 million released to healthcare providers. Meanwhile, the Ghanaian publisher is reporting 400 million Ghana cedis released to healthcare providers. I want to find out what the actual figure is later on, and we'll bring you those details. But let's get into some other stories. NDC backs Agbesi Jakpasu for GBA president. Lands Minister Akufo-Addo, Minister lauds Akufo-Addo's exceptional education record in Eastern Region. This is still the Ghanaian publisher. Let's get into it and look at that story on page 8 about the NDC backing Agbesi Jakpasu for GBA president. And the story reads, the National Democratic Congress has moved to carry out its threats of politicizing Ghana's judiciary on partisan lines. Okay. I think this story is a bit... Okay, let me read it. Let me read a bit of it. As at its 2024 high-level conference held in Ho Volta region over the weekend, the NDC Lawyers Association resolved to rally its forces behind Agbesi Jakpasu, the lawyer for Sedinam Tamaklo, as the party's chosen candidate for the upcoming national presidency of the GB. Should we be politicizing, elections in the GBA? Doc, I'll skip this story, but I'll come to you for reflections on whether the NDC and NPP should be, backing candidates who want to be, hold positions in the Ghana Bar Association. I don't know what you make of it. Speaker of Parliament describes emergency sitting as act in bad faith. We just touched on that. Minority calls on government to resolve Kolebu maintenance issues. And Asante intervenes in the KNUST VC reappointment impasse. Asante Otumfuo II has intervened in the impasse surrounding the reappointment of Professor Rita Akosua-Dixon as the Vice-Chancellor of the Kwame Nkrumah University Science and Technology. The intervention of Asante, who is also the Chancellor of the university, has resulted in the withdrawal of legal action by two plaintiffs against the Governing Council of the university and Prof. Mrs. Dixon. And that was at a meeting convened at the Mesha Palace in Kumasi on Friday. Doc, quick reflections on any of these stories?
Yeah, I think I will look at the opinion marking and partisan politics.
Right.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong people engage in partisan politics. Politics is a beautiful thing, provided we do it and do it in a manner that will not undermine all of us our common interest. That's it. So for me, if there is politics everywhere, I'm fine with that. But we should be measured and tempered and make sure that the national interest, the interest of our people is what we are fighting for. Any other interest is just an aberration for which it's not legitimate for me to tap on. So that's it. I salute Asante for his, leadership qualities that we are seeing. This issue, very threatening the university, he has dealt with it. And that is what we call a leader. A leader is somebody who leads by example and who makes sure that he settles all disputes and makes sure that people live in harmony and create the enabling environment for business to continue. And so for me, I am happy. My prayer is that we learn from these examples, we emulate and make it part and parcel of what we do, so that at the end of the day, we'll support our people and we deliver based on our promise. That's it.
The story about NDC backing, I've seen it here again, so I just want to get into stay on it a bit. And it reads on the front page of the custodian paper that NDC plots GBA takeover, backs Agbesi Jakpasu for president. And details of the story allege that there's a higher plan that was taken at a high-level conference organized by NDC Lawyers Association held in the Volta region, and is part of their plan or plot to carry out their threat of politicizing Ghana's judiciary on partisan lines. And so the decision, according to information gathered, was to firm up or to back Agbesi Jakpasu to win the elections and become GBA president so that the NDC can get a foot in and start their plan to take over the GBA. Doc, I want to know what you think about this.
I have, as a journalist, I have a problem with the story.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks more of a, a sensational story and all that. What is the point in NDC going there to support a candidate to win the election? What would the GBA president do in terms of the workings of the judiciary? Is he going to determine cases for the Chief Justice to put before judges in the courts? I don't get it. Is he going to control the Judicial Council, which he is a member of, and he is not the head? It's the Chief Justice who is a member of. So when you look at all these from a logical standpoint, I don't get it.
Yeah. And I mean, it looks like our politicians are, for want of a better word, getting desperate by day as the election, December is getting closer. So everything that, or every angle that each party can work to make the other person look bad or make themselves look good, they want to use it. And this story really this morning.
And what will Agbesi do? To change the course of politics in this country? What would he do? His vote is only one. It's unfortunate. He can't do much. So I don't think as a political party, they waste their time on this. And you can have some people who share his Agbesi's ideas, dreams, and aspirations. They want to rally behind a person. And nothing wrong with that. But if people say that it's a political party agenda to get that guy elected, to do what?
Yeah.
To do what?
Okay. Let's do some other stories. The Daily Searchlight now. Ghana Airports Company yet to collect 33.8 million debt. In spite of debt, NPP commits Ghana to more expenses. On climate change, blameless Africa faces high burden and adaptation costs. Let's start from there. And that story is on page 9 because we are all feeling the impact of climate change. I'll read just a bit of that. So Africa bears an increasingly heavy burden from climate change and disproportionately high cost for essential climate adaptation, according to a new report from the World Meteorological Organization. On average, African countries are losing 2 to 5% of gross domestic product, and many are diverting up to 9% of their budgets responding to climate extremes. In sub-Saharan Africa, the cost of adaptation is estimated to be between $30 to $50 billion annually over the next decade, or 2 to 3% of the region's gross domestic product, says the WMO State of the Climate in Africa 2023 report. I just wanted, but it's a long story. You can get a copy of the paper and read yourself. This is to our audience. But I'm just saying that we as an institution here at Multimedia, we're also doing our bit, shining light on the effects of climate change. But we as citizens, Doc, do you think we are aware enough or conscious in our activities of how climate change is impacting us and how we can mitigate in our day-to-day activities the effect or contributing to the effect of it?
Yeah, there are a number of people who understand what is happening and they are aware of its effects and all that. Of course, there are a large majority who have no idea about what really caused climate change and its effects and the rest of them. So we need to do more advocacy and bring all the two groups together so that we move on the same path and deal with this problem head on. Certain activities that we undertake that undermine the environment, that cause the depletion of the ozone layer and the effects on humanity, we must shy away from this. This must be drummed to the ears of everybody so that whatever we do, we are conscious of the environment, and that is the way to go. As soon as we destroy the ecosystem, it's over. You don't need to wait for your death. It will come naturally to you. So we must be very careful. And you see, if you look at the resources we're pumping to maintain the environment, And then we have people who are in every day to make sure that they destroy the very environment that we are spending resources on. Then we know that we are in difficult waters. We need to do more in the area of advocacy, in the area of laws enforcement, and then in the area of socialization, so that we inculcate these important values in people that don't destroy the environment. Every day we talk about the environment, a little one, then you come in. And then I ask myself, have we seen charcoal being, carried from rural areas to the urban areas? That is the environment you are destroying, charcoal. Loaded. And then we see, anytime I say, hey, this is the future of Ghana forest.
It's interesting that we don't pay attention to that. That's the destruction that we're talking about. Charcoal.
Yes, charcoal. Once you see charcoal, tell yourself 1 tree or 2, gone. A day will come, we'll not have any tree. And that is where the reality will dawn on us. I don't want us to get there because we cannot survive there.
The last paper I'll do this morning, the Accra Times, on the front page, fallout from the Speaker's seminar lecture. Kwesi Ening cries out ahead of election 2024. Don't abuse Article 112, Clause 3. That is according to the Speaker. We delved into that already. Imported salt kills local production. Stakeholders petition government. I'll get into that. Minority exposes a Akufo-Addo over decision to deploy military to border towns. Build trust for peaceful 2024 election. Speaker Bagbin urges Ghanaians. Let's start from the story of imported salt that kills local production. It's on page 2 of the Accra Times. The Salt Producers Association of Ghana has formally petitioned the Ghana International Trade Commission for intervention to restore fair competition within the salt market. The association is calling for measures to safeguard the livelihoods of those dependent on the salt industry and contribute to the nation's economic well-being. We are importing salt in 2024. There's some Electrochem, I think, is granting mining concessions to people in Ada and its environs to mine salt. I don't know the extent to which that is commercialized and packaged and, possibly exported, but I think I'm leaning towards this call for some intervention, because if we are importing salt in this country at this time of the world, it is going to kill the local product. Doc, I don't know what to say.
Ghana, your country, is importing cocoa. Tetequashis Ghana. We are importing cocoa in the name that there's a special thing. You are going to use it to produce. We have the premium, and we don't want to. The premium cannot be used for ABC, so we have to add the non-premium. That is unfortunate.
But this is salt, Doc.
Yes. Go to Ada areas. Look, there's a home of salt where we can develop them. This is what we call white gold. All right. Salt fetch a lot of resources for the people. They use it for so many things. Why can't we develop it and encourage our own industry to develop and create jobs for us and create means of livelihood for our people? What are we doing to ourselves? We are importing salt. I am not surprised, because we are importing cocoa in Tetequashis, Ghana. I'm not surprised. Very soon, you are going to import water from a country where there are many rivers. Many rivers. This is a paradox. This is a paradox that we have water, and yet we are importing water. We have salt, yet we are importing salt. Is it not a paradox? It is.
Sometimes I wake up and I'm looking forward to something positive to read in the papers, some good story, something to uplift, me, or just encourage us that we're actually doing something in this country. And even if we are not going to see the benefits or the effects of it right now, at least for the generation to come, they'll come and benefit from something. But everything you read these days is just so sad. Let me do one last story and then I'll come to you, Doc. The minority spokesperson on Interior and Defense Committee in Parliament, Honorable James Algaga, has condemned in the strongest possible... I think this... we've talked about this a lot. He's concerned that the work of the military deployed to the borders to ensure that farmers are not exporting grain in our quest to store up enough grain in that looming food crisis. He's concerned that that's work that should have been left to immigration officers, and that if we are not careful, we'll spend more money deploying military personnel to the borders than we'd actually gain from that, from the trying to ban the export of grain into the country. Doc, what do you make of that?
Oh, I believe these forces are forces to support the activity of the state when they realize that things are getting out of hand. For soldiers, you bring them in when you realize that the other security agencies are not up to the task due to one or two reasons, so they come and support. So I don't see anything wrong with that.
Is that a job that should have been left to immigration? You know, patrolling the borders to ensure that,
the two groups can, you know, cooperate and do a good job for the benefit of the society. But what I don't want is the politics of it, where you see that this is an important effort, but people will throw in the political jabs and just to dismantle everything. That is what I don't want. But we have seen time and again where security people cooperate, they work together for the common good of what mankind. And if you study, you know, crisis management, I teach at the Armed Forces Staff and Command College, and we teach crisis management. We incorporate, bring in all the security apparatus for important exercise. So for me, there's nothing wrong with that.
Doc, give me a wrap of your thoughts in 30 seconds and we go.
I believe that this country, there is none that exists for us. This is the only country we have. Let us make sure that we protect this country and protect ourselves. Any attempt at doing something contrary to this will have our fingers bent. That is all.
That is Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante, head of the Center for European Studies at the University of Ghana, and also a political analyst. Thank you so much, Doc, for joining us for breakfast this morning.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
You too. Right, so sports is coming up next on the AM show. Don't go away. Stay for that. We'll be right back.